Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nello Reads channel. Our first story of the day comes from Megatron Sack Tap, Holiday Art Commission. I've never posted here before, but I've been mulling over a recent commission that's still stuck in my head and thought this might be the right place to vent it out. So let's get into this. I'm an artist who's slowly trying to start up a small business, doing what I love and producing art. I mostly focus on anime and comic book style art, so realism is a struggle for me. Aside from my sister, I don't know many artists, and my family and friends can be a bit unrealistic in their view of how long and arduous the process of creating the final product can be. A close relative came to me last month and told me about a commemorative portrait they saw and how good of a gift it would be for their mother. I agreed it was a good idea and told some ways they might be able to achieve a similar effect on their own. They slowly convinced me that they weren't very tech savvy and that if it was so easy, I should be able to just do it for them. I'm not currently working on any commissions, and although my mental health has been on a steep decline, I eventually caved and agreed. Like I said, they're a very close relative, and to disappoint them would cause a lot of problems for me, and generally make me feel really bad. So, wanting to please them, I reluctantly jumped into the project. All throughout the project, I had minor problems, but things were going okay for the most part. I checked in with them periodically to give updates and ask their opinion on the piece. All throughout, they just kept being pretty distant and not wanting to be involved, just saying that, whatever you do should be fine, you should be able to just throw something together. That is until the end of the project. They began asking about if it was done yet and pushing for it to be completed sooner. So, feeling antsy and panicked, not wanting to cause problems, I completed the piece in the shorter time frame, despite my saying that it wasn't done and needed more work. They again told me I should just be able to throw something together, and that it really isn't that big of a project, asking why it was taking so long. To be clear, I was painting a portrait of two people whose photos I had to personally acquire through hours of research, then further hours of editing to even have a usable reference. Then I needed to color block out a more realistic classical art style that I am not at all comfortable with. It's well known, and I even reminded them that I am in no way, shape, or form a classical artist. Anyway, all in all, I spent about 20 hours total on this portrait piece, and when I finally showed them the final product, they just said, "Oh, that looks really goofy. Yeah, I don't want that." They asked me to see the edited reference picture I put together and said that it looked much better and that they just wanted that instead. After 20 hours of work and stress, I just wanted to cry at how nonchalantly they brushed it off. In my head, I was screaming about how much work I'd put into the piece and just how long it took to put together, let alone the stress in my life that was preventing me from taking commissions in the first place, only to have this long, unpaid project be casually tossed aside like it wasn't even anything. I messaged my sister about it, who's been a struggling artist for over a decade, and she just said, "Yeah, that sucks, man. People can be a-holes," and kind of shrugged. I know this isn't the most insidious or over-the-top choosing beggar story, and maybe I'm overreacting, but I just have to throw out there that if you know an artist and they're willing to do work for free, please don't just shrug off their work. It's such a blow and really crushes someone's spirit to really put their heart into a project to please you, just to have it smacked down with such indifference. I really don't blame OP for being upset over this. I think the same stigma of something being simple and easy to do transfers into a lot of careers, like YouTube or teachers who get summers off, or really anything work from home. But if you were to hand all your responsibilities over to someone who's criticizing that job, they'd probably just shut down. So, OP, if you're listening, don't let this get you down. Some people just suck. Our next story comes from Read and Write. Teach me web development in exchange for coffee? This happened around 2 years ago. I had some free time and decided to build an e-commerce site. I work as a full-stack developer for a gaming company, but I also try to learn other things outside my current work projects on the side as a hobby to broaden my scope. Anyway, I paid hosting, domain parking, etc. with my own money just to play with and make a small project. When I managed to get one running, I set it up for my aunt's cupcake shop. I gave it to her as a kind of thank you gift for always giving me free cupcakes on special occasions. She was delighted. My aunt started bragging about it to all her friends. They didn't pay much attention to it until it started to pick up during the pandemic and lockdown. Having an online shop helped her business. Then one of her friends got so interested and asked my aunt to ask me to make one for her too, for free. Well, it's not free to host a website, not to mention the effort I would have to spend working on it. But I don't just want to make it sound like I made a big deal for my aunt. It was just a hobby project. So I told my aunt I can't because I'm busy at the moment. This did not stop her though. She kept pestering my aunt to ask me stuff about my project, more of the hows now. She said she's gonna make one herself. She just needs some guidance on where to start. Okay, so I started sending her stuff. YouTube tutorials, blogs, articles, books, but it did not stop there. My aunt can't handle her anymore, so she gave her my details. So now she communicates with me directly. She says she's having a hard time understanding anything I sent her. Then she messaged me something like this. I am paraphrasing, we don't talk in English. "Could you be a dear and help an old lady out? Why don't we meet during your break time and you could teach me how to do this stuff? Once or twice a week?" I tried to politely explain to her that there are classes she could take if she's really into this stuff. "But you can't do it? I feel like I will be more comfortable learning from you. Let's just meet and discuss this further in person, shall we?" I tried to dissuade her by joking that my rates are more than double than those online courses I sent, and I'm fully booked. She must pay the reservation fee if she wants a slot. "But I will only take a fraction of your time. How about if coffee is on me instead? Come on, let's meet up." "Sorry, but no thanks," I said. She made some more attempts to convince me to meet up with her. One time she even just said just to talk. I never replied to any of them. I think she may just be a lonely old lady and just using this as an excuse to hang out with people, so I don't know if this story qualifies here. If OP's right, and this really is some lonely old lady, I do feel bad for her. But at the same time, I've never heard of an elderly person using web development as an excuse to hang out with someone they've never seen before. So I imagine that's not the case. Regardless, setting up a website these days is actually way easier than it used to be. There's so many free website builders out there that'll work for just about anything you need. Unfortunately though, there is one thing a website builder can't do for me: press the like button. But you can, so you should if you're enjoying the video. Our third story comes from Don't Call Me Baby. The time an acquaintance was unhappy with her birthday celebration. I, 29 female, hesitate to call this girl, 29 female, a friend because I really didn't know her that well. We met through a local group for a hobby we both had. We hung out a few times, texted a bit, but we weren't close friends. During one of the times we were hanging out to work on our hobby, she complained that all of her friends were busy on the day of her actual birthday, but she really wanted to celebrate that day instead of waiting for the weekend or whatever. She sounded so down about it, and I felt bad, so I told her I would take her out. It was only a couple of days away, and I was on a super tight budget. But another one of our friends from the hobby group and I took her out to a lunch at a cute cafe. We paid for her meal. She griped about the food the entire time, but I shrugged it off. And afterwards, the three of us went back to my place for some ice cream that I made sure fit all of her dietary restrictions. While I was dishing up the ice cream, she disappeared into my bedroom and shut the door. Our other friend and I were confused, but thought maybe she was having a wardrobe malfunction or taking a phone call. So we let her be for about 10 minutes before going to check on her. She didn't respond when we knocked on the door. So we let ourselves in and found her sitting on my bed with her arms crossed, tears streaming down her face. We asked her what was wrong, and she said she was upset that it took us so long to check on her. I was getting pissed at this point, but wanted to keep the peace, so simply explained why we didn't immediately run after her. After some groveling, we got her to come out for ice cream. Before she left, I gave her a small gift that I had sewn by hand. Tight budget, remember? She didn't say thank you. She looked it over and said, I don't like this color, but maybe I can dye it. Needless to say, we didn't speak much after that. It's almost 3 a.m., and instead of letting me sleep, my brain is reminding me of that awful day, so I thought I might as well share. I say this a lot, I've already said it in this video, but some people just suck. I personally feel bad if I do something as small as, forget to hold the door open for someone. So I can't even imagine doing what the girl in this story did. Our next story of the day is from Churro to the Chur. Old couple try to take our seats on a plane. A few years ago, my significant other and I planned a 3-month trip around the world. Our first flight was from New Zealand to LA, 12 to 13 hours. We booked and paid for our flights, and I added the premium economy seats as I'm 6'3" and wanted the extra legroom. It cost an extra $60. This flight was with Air New Zealand, and the screen has your name on it when you get to your seat. For example, welcome Churro to the Chur. We get on the plane, find our seats, and there is this older couple sitting there, mid-70s. I ask them if they got confused with their seat numbers. They hadn't. I show them my ticket and seat number and point to my name on the screen. They then asked me to just sit in their seats, which were 10 rows back, no legroom. You want me to sit in your seats? Yes, that would be nice, thank you. I paid extra for these seats and would like to sit in them. Please move to your seats. Oh, it's not that bad. There's plenty of legroom. Yeah, there's plenty of legroom in my seats, because I paid for it. I'll help you move your bag if you need. Flight attendant comes along because the line is getting long. This man wants us to move seats. Sir, please go to your allocated seats. Here's my ticket. These people are sitting in my seats. I paid extra because I need the legroom. Flight attendant to old people. Excuse me, you will have to move to your own seats as you have not paid for these seats. Well, can we please have an upgrade? Sorry, this is a full flight, so that's not possible. I got some stink eyes from other people on the flight. I paid for the extra legroom, and I need it. It's no wonder just about everyone hates going to the airport. Not only do you have to deal with baggage, TSA, delays, and all that other fun stuff, you gotta deal with other human beings who, as history and this story reflect, don't always make the best choices. The next story comes from Pizza Investor. That's all we get? Backstory. So every year, me and my girlfriend grow a garden. Our situation is different than most people who garden. Our home is not hooked into a well or public utility. So the house has rainwater collection via gutters off the house and porches. I have to haul water to support the house and garden when it's dry. Every year, the garden gets bigger, and we try new veggies and expand the favorites. It's all organic with no weird chemicals. A lot of work goes into it, and we love it. At a point, though, we get tired of canning and preserving tomatoes. We can only eat so many. I take boxes and boxes to work and hand them to anyone who wants them. I love when people enjoy them. Every year, I have people asking me how my garden is, and truly interested, and they know it gets me pumped talking about it. Currently happening. This year, my girlfriend's mom and stepdad talked about how puny my plants looked. For months they did this, and also talked about how we should do all these different things to improve it like they are. Well, about 2 weeks ago, they asked about our garden, and if we had any extra tomatoes, because none of their plants produced. Me, being the guy I am, said, of course, we will bring them over tomorrow. We then drove over the next day with 3 boxes of tomatoes. About 10 dozen or so of beautiful, big slicing tomatoes. These were even ones I kept for myself to can, but said, what the heck, I can go pick myself more tomorrow. When we gave them these, the first thing they said to me was, this is all we get? I then told them, yeah, a lot of other people are looking forward to some tomatoes too. They were not pleased and acted all pissy the rest of the visit. Fast forward to today, I get a text from the girlfriend's stepdad. Hey, we want to buy all of your tomatoes. I did not see this message as I was enjoying myself in the garden. When I get to my phone, it has blown up by the girlfriend's mother saying, did you get Daryl's message? Hello? Stop giving away those tomatoes. We want them all. I bet you're not answering because you're giving away our tomatoes. I still have not responded to them. Help me turn this into a better story as it is currently happening. Edit 1. I will be deciding how to move forward with this morning. Thank you for all the responses, and the path I choose will be accredited to the people who suggested it. Talk to you guys this afternoon with an update. Edit 2. Everyone asks what they did with so many tomatoes. They juiced and canned them all. They had a goal to beat their 100 quarts they did last year. Doesn't look like it's happening. Edit 3. I showed up to work with a few buckets full to leave in customer vehicles today. Still spreading the love around. So this is where the story ends. We don't really know what the parents said after this. Probably nothing. And since I don't have anything to say about the story, this video is also ending. So I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and I'll see you in the next one.